Good morning. Good morning. What's happening, family? Welcome to the show. This is Michelle Bryant here at WNOV 860 AM, 106.5 FM. You are listening to Say Something Real. And let me say, first of all, good morning to the bros in the studio. What's happening, Mr. Ryder? How you doing this morning, sir?
Well, woman,
Is that thunder?
no, that's Debo over there breathing hard.
Oh,
No,
I'm
that's
like,
that fan.
That's Debo over there breathing hard.
Hey, turn number 5 off. Can you mute number 5, please? Yeah, that would rectify that.
That's Debo over there
That's
breathing
him
hard.
breathing.
No, that's the fan blowing on number 5. Mic number 5.
Yeah, blame it on the fan.
That sounded nice.
Mm-hmm.
No,
No, but
you good this morning?
I'm doing good. I'm, in spite of. Oh wow,
You looking at the thing.
dude fell out the truck.
ICE agents ramming vehicles in Chicago.
Hey, but that looked like it was black people that was falling out the truck.
I don't know, but they've been arresting black people and being told in Chicago. I know you see this a black man. This ain't no
Yeah,
Hispanic Latino. Yeah, they've been arresting black people in Chicago. I've now heard 3 personal accounts
yeah.
of black men that have been taken into custody, talking about, we don't know who you are. And people dude, here go my driver's license
like
right here.
Vigilantes with a badge.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, a lot of
these are
little
people.
racist yahoos is in these.
Man, them black people.
Yeah, I mean it's
Man,
madness.
dude had locks.
It's madness, and it's going to be bad before it gets. I mean, it's going to get worse before it gets better. These people in Chicago are not backing down. Look at them throwing gas cans, and they got their gas mask on.
People crying on TV.
They showed them arresting, children, like because they Hispanic looking children. You taking children into custody.
Look at that's a black dude.
Yeah, that's the one that I talked about yesterday.
Yeah,
and they was all yelling and screaming, he is an American citizen. And they was talking about, well, why you run?
Because I got legs. I can run.
Yeah, that's what I talked about
to.
yesterday. And then look how they slamming women down to the ground. I mean, they body slam them like they think they WWF. I'm telling you. And most of this white boys. These is white boys. You don't see no brothers out here with this nonsense. These is white boys having way too much fun, abusing people that they coming into contact with.
Not only that, but it's that white lady that was at the Brewers game.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna talk about her this morning.
It's just all of the stuff.
And the thing about that case with the woman at the Brewers game is that this woman is an attorney.
Yeah,
and on the Make-A-Wish Foundation board, attorney with manpower. Right? Yeah. At least she was, and then. It's back and forth banter that's what fans do at a baseball game. And this woman, in fact, let me just pull it up and I'll just say good morning. I'll come back around to y'all because I got a guest coming in, so I'm gonna roll through everything this morning. Hey Devo, how you doing this morning?
Good morning. Get right to the show.
So everybody has seen this video now. A lot of people have. It has gotten over more than 2 million views. This Latino man who was in Chicago on business and is a fan of the LA Dodgers, got tickets and came over to the Brewers game to see, the Brewers and the Dodgers. And he, cheering for the Dodgers, his team. And it turns into, a little back and forth banter with him and some of the fans. Well, one, white lady that's a fan for the Brewers, she decides she gonna, ratchet it up a notch. So her name is Shannon Koblarczyk, however you say her name. And she is going back and forth with the dude. And then she says, let's call ICE. And so you can see the white guy sitting next to her kind of like, okay, what you doing? And she said, yeah, let's call ICE. And he's recording her because all of this is just kind of like just out of pocket. And so she then tries to smack his phone out his hand or swat away his phone while he is recording, and he tells her, call ICE. I'm a U.S. citizen, war veteran, baby girl. That's what he said. War veteran, 2 wars. ICE is not going to do nothing to me. Good luck. This man, after 9/11, joined the military and fought in Afghanistan and Iraq. Okay? Afghanistan and Iraq. And this woman, in all her whiteness and her privilege, who is an attorney and who should know better, you publicly calling for no other reason than this man is Latino. We want, to create a problem for him. And the Brewers ended up, from the accounts that I've read, threw that man out the game. They asked that man to leave. And I'm trying to figure out Brewers, because the Brewers been radio silent. And I'm trying to figure out if the account that I initially read is correct. Why did the Brewers ask this man to leave? Why you didn't ask Becky Lou to leave? So I hope that the Brewers, that the account that I heard is incorrect.
Would that be the Brewers and or Miller Park Security?
It's all the same. It's all the same. The Brewers own that park.
Yeah, what?
The security that work there, they work for the Brewers.
Brewers own the park, even though we pay for it.
Yeah. So
something every day.
That's they hire them. That's the Brewers.
Okay.
And the Brewers need to answer the question: why was he put out? This man ain't hit nobody. He ain't cussed at nobody. Why was he? If the account that I read was correct, why was that man put out of the game?
Maybe they were just trying to
again
de-escalate the situation.
They should have de-escalated with Becky Lou too then. How come both of them didn't have to leave?
If you're gonna pull one out.
But this is what fans do. As I said, I have been at a Green Bay Packer game and had Minnesota gear and had all the white people at the game throw popcorn at me because I was cheering for Minnesota. But it was friendly. Yeah, and me and one little 6-year-old white boy was high-fiving over his grandma's head when Minnesota was scoring. And she was like, no, she's a bad lady. Don't talk to her. And, we all laughing and having a good time.
Yeah, that's
what you do.
That's what the game is all about.
Right.
Being there live. Yeah.
She escalates it to, call ICE. And to his credit, Ricardo, the gentleman that was impacted, he was like, look, I wasn't trying to see the lady get fired. I just, what she did was just out of pocket. And I'm like, see, that's the problem.
So did she get fired?
Yeah.
She resigned.
Well, she got fired from
Manpower. She resigned, and she resigned from Make-A-Wish Foundation. Yeah. She resigned from both.
Well, you know how that goes. You never really resign. They give you the choice.
Yeah. Oh, no. I'm sure Manpower was like, because,
this way
we operate all over the world. You see all these damn international flags flying around our corporate offices, and you up here talking about call ICE because you couldn't handle a disagreement with a fan at a baseball game. And let's just say, because we know ICE had been showing up at some baseball games, let's just say that ICE did get involved. And this man could have been detained. That's why I'm looking at Ricardo like, you taking this way too light for me. There's a woman right now talking about her 13-year-old son.
The players on the field probably could be deported.
Come on now.
Yeah.
This woman talked about her 13-year-old son was somewhere. His parents came into the country. They're seeking asylum. They've been in the process since 2021. The boy got into a fight or something at school, and the police end up, taking him, arresting him, or whatever they did. Somehow or another, ICE mysteriously finds out that this boy is being held by the police. The police called his mom and said, hey, come pick up your son. By the time she gets there, ICE has snatched her son and taken him away. This woman don't know where her son is. And nobody is giving her information.
Unbelievable.
This in America, you can be snatched off the street, snatched out of a police station, and be told nothing about where your 13-year-old child is, even though you are in the process to officially seek asylum. Like, none of that makes any sense to me. None of that makes any sense to me whatsoever. So this woman I am thrilled that they got to show her racist behind on TV. Her face is plastered all over America. It's made international news. That's what you get because it was ignorant. You didn't like that somebody was going back and forth about a damn sports game, and you sought to say something that could potentially have caused this man irreparable harm. And somebody said he admitted saying an expletive on the WIC account. So what? So what? Tell me something. He admitted saying a cuss word. What's your damn point? Did you hear me say one?
That don't give you the right to.
You gonna call ICE? You telling me at a sporting event you don't hear cuss words? And this woman talking all crazy and wrong to this man? Yeah, she was supposed to catch some cuss words. Children, if you're listening, don't listen to Miss Michelle. But yeah, she was supposed to catch some cuss words.
She should have caught more than that.
Exactly. And then she gonna swat her hand at him.
She really would have caught more than that.
Like, don't be trying to offer up no excuses for that behavior. Somehow he admitted he said an expletive. You ain't never heard a cuss word at a game. You ain't never been cussed at.
So that's what she said. She said
no. Somebody sent me saying that he used the cuss word.
So
he admitted it. Like, oh my God, he admitted that he said a cuss word. Hey, you talk crazy, you get crazy.
Yeah, I don't know crazy, but I know karate.
I'm just saying. And so when I say that I was so appalled by this woman, and again, the man Ricardo, his little response. I appreciate you, bro, but nah, she would have called all that business from me because you're saying stuff that can take away people's freedom, even though it could just be temporary. But Brewers, we need to hear from y'all. Why was that man put out that stadium? If the account that I heard is true, why was he put out? Why was he escorted out? Why was Mr. Fasado escorted out? That's his name, Ricardo Fasado. Like, gotta love that name.
Ricardo Fasado.
But why was he put out, management at the Brewers? Why was he put out? Somebody need to answer that question. And Becky Lou got to sit her racist behind there and enjoy the rest of the game. If the accounts that I've heard in the media are accurate. And I mean, she just sat there all privileged down. Like, yes, I'm a white woman and I have all the authority. And okay, let me move on, because when I tell you outrageous is nothing short of outrageous. Okay, I got a stalker standing in the doorway. Good morning. I don't know what's going on, but I don't feel safe. y'all gotta keep the door closed, because with access to me, I don't care who gets y'all. But I got somebody. I got somebody standing over my shoulder, and I don't feel safe. But let me go to the phone line. Hey, caller, what's happening? Hello? Caller?
Once, twice.
I'm going to try one more time. Hello? Okay, let's go.
Hello?
Now you.
That sounds like me. Hello?
Hello?
Take us off.
Hey,
speaker.
take us off speaker, fam.
And off the radio.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Did he hang up the call?
Okay. All right. Well, while we're trying to figure that piece out, let me take a moment, you guys. I need to acknowledge the passing of a Milwaukee leader, Jerry Ann Hamilton, who was the former president of the NAACP Milwaukee branch, passed away. And I got copied on an announcement that was sent out by the NAACP Milwaukee branch on yesterday. Mount Olive Baptist Church also has a post on their webpage that goes back to October 14th. And it says the Mount Olive Baptist Church honors the life and legacy of the remarkable mother, Jerry Ann Hamilton, a beacon of hope and inspiration, whose passing leaves an indelible mark on our hearts. As you may know, Mother Hamilton dedicated her life to uplifting others through public service, becoming a transformative teacher, and serving as the trailblazing NAACP president of the Milwaukee branch. Right now, there are not details yet regarding any homegoing ceremony that has been planned. I'm sure that Mount Olive will post that on their website when they have an opportunity, and the folks over at the NAACP will make the community aware when they have an opportunity. There was also another passing connected to the NAACP. I think it was the Waukesha, former Waukesha branch president, Lily. Let me see if I can find it real quick. She also passed away. So both of those announcements were sent out yesterday. Yes, Lily Wilson, former president of the NAACP. She was on the National NAACP board and the NAACP president of the Waukesha County branch. So both in both cases, the arrangements are pending. Let me go to the phone line. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Good morning, Queen sister.
Hey, take us off speaker.
Okay. All right.
All right,
Sorry.
let's go. How you doing this morning?
I noticed something that happened after the Brewers kicked that Hispanic brother out of the ballpark.
What's that?
The Brewers star home run hitters are all Hispanic, except for I think two of them. And right after that incident, obviously the players heard about it, and the team that they beat 6 times in a row during the regular season, they lost to the same team in their own house back to back. And now they're going to lose the series because of this incident. That's how I see it. Maybe wrong, but that's how I see it.
Okay. I mean, look, I will just say a lot of things are fair game. You know, if there's a commotion, I don't know how it trickles down to the players on the field. Anything and everything is possible. And that concept about we got to be conscientious that we got Latino players on the field. You know, Debo said some of whose status might be questionable. I don't know because I don't know the players and follow the game like that. But it is frustrating to understand that just for no other reason than skin color alone, somebody assumes you're not in this country legally. And, you know, just that sting of a slap when this, I almost call this lady a wench. When this woman said, call ICE, and this man has served the United States military.
Honorably.
Yes.
Honorably.
You see what happens on 9/11 and decide to enlist and go do 2 tours. And I just wanted to just look at her like, so now what you got to say? But see, she gonna probably be ignorant like Eric Dickerson was when, you know, he found out that Bad Bunny was from Puerto Rico and his, you know, special education behind didn't appreciate that Puerto Rico is part of the United States and doubled down. Well, I don't feel like they're a part of this country. And it's like, so how do you feel about that? You gonna double down on your ignorance, ma'am? Now, Shannon, her name is Shannon. You gonna double down on your ignorance, Shannon? So yes, thank you, sir. I appreciate that call.
All right,
y'all. All right, so let me pivot. I gotta take a break. When I come back, look, I talked about this before. Donald Trump bombing these boats, talking about some damn drug dealers. In the United States of America, you do not get sentenced to death. You can be the kingpin of all kingpins. You do not get sentenced to death in the United States of America for being a drug dealer. This time, we see the video of the boat out in the water and it being blown to smithereens. Most people doing drug busts, you want to capture those people. But even if you got to kill them, you definitely want to be able to display the product and be like, look at this haul. This is all the drugs we took. This is what we got. But Donald Trump blows up the whole damn boat. Rand Paul stands there and says, we have no idea what was on that boat because you blew the whole thing up. Y'all, CNN was talking about it this morning. Not CNN. Over on Urban View this morning. I've been listening to some chatter circling around the business community. And there is a theory that this has nothing to do with drugs, that drugs are a ruse to be able to mess with Venezuela and Maduro. The woman who won the Nobel Peace Prize is cheering on Donald Trump attacking her country in this way, and Maduro. They're calling for a regime change. That's not what we do. That's not what we're supposed to be doing. This, I agree with people, because all of a sudden, Venezuela, who we have seen data that suggests that the bulk of their drugs don't even come to the United States, like they not our main culprit. You ain't bombing Mexico. And now this man is talking about he may go on land. You gonna go into somebody else's country to do preemptive strikes on drug dealers? You gonna go into somebody else's country. So if Mexico said, we sick of all of these damn guns coming in from the United States into our country because we don't have a single gun manufacturer in the country of Mexico, not one. So any guns that's in Mexico, they came across the border from the U.S. And then Mexico wake up and say, you know what, we done had enough. Now that's enough of this. And we're going to go and we're going to bomb the manufacturers of guns in the United States. You can't keep it out of our country. We're going to come in and bomb your country. Does that sound crazy? But that's what this man is saying. Under the guise of drugs, you're going to go into a whole behind other country. And I've ordered the CIA to do covert operations. Well, how covert is it if you on TV telling everybody?
That part.
This the dumbest man I have ever seen in my life.
That's like giving my wife a surprise party
that you just told us on the radio about.
Exactly. She's helping me plan.
Surprise.
Like, how do you say I've ordered the CIA to do covert? What's the damn definition of covert? Let me look it up. Covert.
It would seem that secrecy is in there somewhere.
Yeah, it's supposed to be.
Non-disclosure,
Like we are not coming, but
covert. Here it is. It's an adjective. Not openly acknowledged or displayed.
Wait.
We're going to say this one more time.
Say it again.
Because we got a complete and total idiot running this country. I've ordered, let me get his words. And I got to go to break.
No,
but let me get his words. Donald Trump, CIA orders, covert.
And to think.
Okay. So where is it?
Gotta be the dumbest.
I mean, you can't. But then you want to talk about black folks and competence and whether we should have these jobs because of DEI.
Man, I can't believe that these people are actually following behind this dude.
Oh, it's man, because they got other agendas, though. They got other
Exactly.
They got other agendas. And so I just wanted to see if I could find the exact sentence where he says it, but he acknowledged that he had authorized the covert action. And okay, so let's go back to the meaning of covert before we go. So young people, we gonna do Keith Paris's word of the day. Covert. Not openly acknowledged or displayed. Covert. If we could all write that down on a piece of paper with the definition and mail it to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, that would be so great.
Shell, can you use that in the sentence again?
Covert. Donald Trump's brain is covert. It is not openly acknowledged or displayed.
Right.
Donald Trump's brain is covert. How about that? Does that work? We'll check in with Keith because Keith will be the one to tell me for sure
if you're using that word.
Yeah,
properly.
he'll tell me, but I feel comfortable saying that Donald Trump's brain is covert. All right, I gotta take a break. I'm gonna look up some more words. Stupid. What'd you
Idiot,
say?
idiot.
Idiot. Murderer. And we'll be right back. All right, family, welcome back to the show. My stalker has left the building. I feel so much better now. I do. I do.
Oh, and by the
Um,
way, someone said Donald Trump's brain is a covert operation.
I knew somebody would correct me, and I appreciate it. I'll take it. I'll take it. And I concur. I absolutely concur. So, taking a second to talk about the fact that Donald Trump has bombed yet another boat. Like when I say this white man just killing folks willy-nilly, and nobody is doing, yo, you just can't kill people like this. I mean, this man literally believes that he is like God and has the power of life and death. You know, listening to him talking about Israel and Hamas. You know, on my word, uh, Israel will go in and start bombing them all over again. On my word, I'm like, so you the president of Israel now? You the prime minister? You the man? Benjamin Netanyahu work for you? I mean, literally, that's what this dude is saying. On my word, all I got to do is say the word, and Israel, IDF, and Israel will go and start fighting with Hamas again. On my word. Like, BB worked for Trump. So, Nicolas Maduro, who is an authoritarian leader in Venezuela, and is getting no cover from me on the foolishness that goes on. But we have dictators all over this world. He ain't no worse than Vladimir Putin. No worse, as far as I'm concerned. But you're not big boy in Vladimir. But all of a sudden, now we are stepping up all this military action against Venezuela indirectly by targeting supposed drug boats. But we've not produced a single, I ain't seen a dime bag, a kilo, fentanyl. What is fentanyl? A pill? Powder? I don't know. Well, I ain't seen no fentanyl sprinklings. I mean, I've seen nothing that justifies or legitimizes his claim that these are drug-related attacks to keep drugs from coming into America. So let me do this real quick. How much drugs from Venezuela comes into the U.S.? Okay. So I'm looking it up. So when I looked it up, one of the things that I'm getting, there's no reliable public data to quantify the exact amount of drugs entering the U.S. from Venezuela. Venezuela, however, is identified as a major transit country for cocaine produced in neighboring Colombia. Why are we just not going to Colombia? Though some local production occurs, Venezuela primarily serves as a transit hub for cocaine manufactured in Colombia, the world, because Trump been talking about fentanyl, the world's largest cocaine producer. Again, Colombia, the world's largest cocaine producer. The country's porous border with Colombia and its coastline on the Caribbean Sea make it attractive for drug trafficking organizations. Experts indicate that most cocaine reaching the U.S. takes a more direct Pacific route from Colombia through Central America and wait a minute, Mexico. Venezuela's role is largely for shipments destined for the Caribbean, Central America, West Africa, and Europe. Now that's my cursory search. Venezuela is not a source for illegal fentanyl coming into the U.S. because he's been saying fentanyl in some of these press conferences. The vast majority of fentanyl is produced in Mexico using chemicals from China, and then it's smuggled over the US border. So you ain't about to go blow up China. You ain't blowing up no Chinese boats. You're not blowing up Mexico. You're not blowing up Colombia. You blowing up Venezuela. Why Venezuela? And again, I know I've heard over and over again that the majority of drugs being trafficked out of Venezuela don't come to the US. So why Venezuela? Oh, wait. There's an answer. There is an answer that people have been floating that sounds plausible. Um, hmm. So Venezuela, and I just want to look for the exact amount. Venezuela has the world's largest proven oil reserves. But its production has declined due to factors like international sanctions, underinvestment, mismanagement. It's the oil, y'all. It's the oil. They have an estimated, y'all ready? Hold on to your wigs, to your baseball caps. 303 billion barrels of oil back in 2023 with a B. 303 billion barrels of oil back in 2023. Donald Trump now are messing with Venezuela, I believe, as others have said, because they are trying to create drama that creates unrest, that creates a regime change, that creates an opportunity for business people to get their hands on the oil in Venezuela. And they know Maduro even tried to strike a deal in which he could, give the US some interest in some of the oil stuff in Venezuela, trying to get the US off their back. But what the US is doing right now, they have scaled up the military to currently 10,000 troops in that region. Most of them are at bases in, wait, somebody please call Eric Dickerson, at bases in Puerto Rico, since he don't know that that's a part of the United States. Y'all, the Navy has put 8 surface warships and a submarine in the Caribbean. Why? You got warships, submarines, have amped up the troops to 10,000 people. This man is getting ready to start a war with these folks. I've authorized non-covert action, and we are going to be going on land potentially. How you going in somebody else's country messing with them? That's not bothering you. Do you know how many countries do stuff that's wrong that America don't bother? Like inhumane treatment of its people, death and abuse. Again, do you know? And we not bothering none of those countries, but we are amping up a full military scale situation to some extent in terms of warships, submarines, boots on the ground for Venezuela, for the fentanyl crisis that people acknowledge does not exist. These people are trying to get control of them folks' oil. And like a lot of things that happen, they're getting ready to take, they're going to take it, they're going to steal it, they're going to big boy them, force them into some kind of deal. This has nothing to do with drug trafficking and making America safe. They are killing people. And you got a sorry Republican controlled Congress that's letting this man execute people at will. Somebody gonna get us. I'm gonna say it like they say in the streets. You can't keep doing dirt and eventually don't nobody come for you. Because what other countries are paying attention to, if you would do that to Venezuela, potentially, as Michelle and some others think, to get your hand on that country's natural resources, what will you do to us? And the only thing that's keeping you off our behind is that we are nuclear powers too, that we are a formidable force to be reckoned with too. But America is showing the whole world how dirty they are and how they are willing to take other people's stuff. And then, under the guise of protecting America, you straight stealing. You straight stealing. And we don't know no better. So you got people running around. Yeah, they should be bombing those boats with those drug dealers. But you ain't seen a damn dime bag yet. How do you blow up the product to prove this is why we killed him? We've seen nothing but dead bodies. Let me go to the phone line. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Michelle, we still got dime bags out here.
I don't know.
Nickel bag. We ain't seen nothing. And my question is, was this like was it Greenland he tried to take? And so since they said no, he gets mad, and now we resulted to blowing up stuff? Remember Greenland? He wanted to go over there and take that country or island or whatever for his own personal use. And my question is the 10 walks, October 18th, no King's Day.
Right.
Are we participating in Milwaukee? I did see an email from Souls to the Polls about Section 2 yesterday, but would that be a good symbolism for us as a country to do, or is it lay low like we're doing now and just watch how things are playing out and keep strategizing?
You know, it's
and close the door, y'all. Close the door, Michelle.
I know. Got people just walking in up on me. Thank you, sis. I'll address your questions. So first of all, yeah, you were right. It was Greenland that he wanted, and you know, the U.S. should take control of Greenland. He's been on that since he got reelected, and both the governments of Greenland and Denmark have consistently rejected the idea. And, you know, Trump continues to amp this up. Like, how do you openly talk about we should just take your country? Canada, you should just become the 51st state. A whole country. You should just become the 51st state. The level of arrogance of these people is too much. But in terms of King's Day, no King's Day. I'm going to tell you, see, this is all interesting. And this is the conversation that has been quietly happening in the Black community. So there is going to be a No Kings protest in Milwaukee on Saturday, October 18th at Cathedral Square Park from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. So, you know, we'll see what happens. But Cathedral Square Park is 520 East Wales. And the organizers emphasize the event is committed to nonviolent action, asking participants to act lawfully and de-escalate any confrontations. Weapons are not permitted. They're thinking they may have a high turnout. They're going to have speakers, diverse coalition of groups, ACLU, Common Cause, Wisconsin Network for Peace, just for some that were cited in this article that I'm looking at. There are also events in Greenfield, Shorewood, Brookfield, and Waukesha, according to some, you know, localized posts. But this is the thing, and why I said there's been some chatter in the background by Black folks, particularly Black women, because, you know, we show up every election and do what we're supposed to. And we try to tell folks, hey, this dude is not right. Whether I mean, remove the partisanship. Donald Trump just is not rap tight. He is not a good and decent person. This man is going to mess up this country. Like sisters was waving the flag. And of course, white women overwhelmingly consistently vote Republican. Not all, but overwhelmingly. We have not won the white female vote, I think they said, on the Democratic side of the ticket since the 60s. So for all the, pink pussy hats that was wearing and I saw you look up. You're so silly, man. You're so ridiculous. For all of the protests, they still don't show up in numbers significant enough to flip the fact that they have not voted with a Democratic candidate since the 60s in mass. Okay. So a lot of Black women are chilling. Like they're picking the things that they want to be involved in and the battles they want to fight because they like, you know what? We've been fighting that fight. And right now, y'all fight it. It was a whole bunch of Hispanic Latino people. Y'all supported Donald Trump. Y'all go fight it. Um, you know, if we want to come, we'll come. If we don't, we won't. But don't count on us because we couldn't count on you. That is literally the conversation that is happening in Black leadership, female-led leadership circles all over the place. All over the place. So I don't know. Because I'm not going to be, not unless I just go to be nosy, but I'm not protesting. There will be no protesting. I won't be doing that. Because we keep trying to tell people, and folks keep either not showing up or, we got 10-15% of brothers and sisters siphoning off and voting for this dude. I mean, so I don't know. I don't know what that looks like. So let me just leave that lay. Okay. All right. We are on day 16 of the shutdown, and I have got to take a minute to talk about that because there's going to be another basically performative vote taken today by Congress on the House of Representatives. I think it's supposed to be today. And yeah, nothing's going to happen. The Dems are not budging on this fight about health care. And the Republicans have said it's a non-starter. So blow it up, burn it all down. It looks like that's the tactic that, everybody's taking because depending on your point of view, that's the hill we're going to die on. So the shutdown continues, and I got to take a break. But Donald Trump is now threatening to fire upwards to an additional 10,000 people to hurt Democrats, to get rid of programs that they don't like. And so I said it yesterday, and I think I need to keep saying it. Donald Trump is the president of the red states of America. He is not the president of the United States of America. The word united does not exist. It is the red states of America, which may get redder because the case that we were watching yesterday, the Supreme Court case, the justices look like they're getting ready to lean towards saying, yeah, we can't use race as a way to fix the problems that was done based on race. I'll be right back.
On a Sunday morning in 1963, an explosion ripped through the 16th Street Baptist Church in Birmingham, Alabama. 4 African-American children were killed by that bomb. Other churchgoers were injured, and the lives of countless others would change forever. Family and friends still mourn the loss of 14-year-olds Addie Mae Collins and Denise McNair, as well as Carol Robertson and 11-year-old Cynthia Wesley, more than 60 years after their deaths. Lisa McNair was born 1 year after her sister Denise was killed, and she has written a book called Dear Denise, Letters to the Sister I Never Knew, and has been invited to serve as the keynote speaker at the First Baptist Church Lauderdale Women's Conference here in Memphis. And Ms. McNair is now joining us this morning, along with Kathy Cowan from First Baptist Lauderdale. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Wow, this is a difficult legacy to carry, but one that must be shared. Can you just talk to me about what inspired you to write a book about this?
Well, I was born almost exactly a year from the death of Denise. And Denise was the only child that my parents had. So I'd known the story, but I was the part of that first generation to move freely through America after segregation. So I wanted to always write a book about my life and my experiences. And I wrote it in letters written to her because I never got to meet her and know her.
That is quite a powerful way to do it, unique. And Kathy, tell us why the church wanted to invite her to be your keynote.
Well, our theme is forgive. And chapter 6, 14 through 15 out of Matthew, which says, if you forgive others the wrong they've done you, your Father in heaven will forgive you. But if you don't, he won't. So it's real serious to us, the whole notion of forgiveness. And we thought, who better to show and talk about forgiveness than Lisa? What she went through, what her family went through, and to see them continue to live and thrive. We thought she could tell us a few things.
Yeah, we could learn a few things. And if you could help to teach forgiveness to our audience, what does forgiveness look like to you?
Forgiveness is a challenge. It takes time. It doesn't just say, okay, today I forgive you. It's a process. But if you don't forgive them, like my dad used to say, hate destroys the hater. So you will be destroying yourself from the inside. So we have to forgive our brothers and sisters so that we can move on. We can have peace. And God can punish people way worse than what I could do. So it's important to just turn them over to the Lord.
And so, I mean, it's just, okay, so someone does you wrong, right? And you go through all the feelings of, I don't like what you did. I don't like you for what you did. Right?
Yeah.
But so do you go through all that first?
Sure. I mean, you're human. You go through all of that. But at some point you realize you can't take that on. And my parents were just amazing at telling us that we had to forgive, but showing it and living it out and being people of faith, people who were gracious and loving and kind. And they knew that not all white people were mean and evil. In fact, they had some wonderful white people in their lives that were kind and loving and were on their side. And they showed us that you have to take each person one at a time, but you have to let that pain, that hate, and that anger go so that you can blossom and you can live.
All right, family. So you had an opportunity to hear a clip of a sister that I actually am fortunate to have in the studio with us today, the voice of Lisa McNair, as you heard playing in that audio clip, the sister of Denise McNair, who was one of the 4 young Black girls that were killed that fateful day, September 15th, 1963, 16th Street Baptist Church. When I was growing up, and I was born in 64, but a lot of people that listen to the show, me and Tyrone had these conversations. My mother's side, everybody's from Birmingham, Lowndes County, Montgomery.
Okay.
I went to high school in Birmingham, so these are stories that are cemented in my DNA. There is not a Black child who was growing up during my era, for sure, that did not know these 4 girls like they could have been our cousins.
Mm-hmm.
And you were always reminded of what was expected of you.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, my mother and them would say stuff like, you know, you need to make something out of yourself for the children that couldn't. You know,
good.
and so when and it's I've known about you and your family for a long time. Tyrone and I are good friends. We go back, and I remember we were passing each other on the freeway, coming back from funerals. I think you were on your way back, Tyrone. You had just left a family member's funeral. I was on my way down.
Yeah, Chris, her dad.
Her dad, right? And so literally, you know, we passed each other on the highway. So I have always known about you all through Tyrone. When he called and said you were going to be in town, so there are times when doing my job, I'm like, oh, I love my job. I love my job. And there are other times when, you know, it is a sinking pit in your stomach because you realize we would love to believe this stuff is far removed from us.
Yeah, but that's not true.
But when somebody says the sister of one of the girls from the 16th Street bombing is coming to the studio, then that's a direct reminder, slap in the face, a snatchback, if you will. Like, nah, all of these folks who want to think we have moved on and things have changed so drastically, or more importantly, that was a long, long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
You were born a year and 4 days after your sister passed.
Mm-hmm.
So welcome to the show.
Thank you,
Miss Lisa McNair.
Thank you for having me.
And Tyrone is in the studio too. What's happening, Mr. Dumas? How are you today, sir?
Well, I feel good.
Good. I'm glad to hear
Just
that.
point me to the bathroom.
Really? That's how you gonna start?
I gotta start that way.
5 minutes.
God,
5 minutes, and that's how you gonna start.
My body is in transition.
Look.
But I'm blessed to have it be in transition.
Amen.
Understood. So let me just take a quick second on this setup piece. On September 15th, 1963, the congregation of the 16th Street Baptist Church in Birmingham, Alabama, greeted each other before the start of Sunday service. In the basement of the church, 5 young girls, 2 of them sisters, gathered in the ladies' room in their best dresses, happily chatting about the first days of the new school year. It was the youth day, and excitement filled the air. They were going to take part in the Sunday adult service. Just before 11 o'clock, instead of rising to begin prayers, the congregation was knocked to the ground. As a bomb exploded under the steps of the church, they sought safety under the pews and shielded each other from falling debris. In the basement, 4 little girls were killed. 14-year-old Addie Mae Collins, Denise McNair was 14 as well, Carol Robertson, 14, and 11-year-old Cynthia Wesley. Addie's sister Sarah survived, but lost her right eye. In the moments after the explosion, questions hung in the air. Where is my loved one? Are they okay? How much longer can this violence last? They did not ask if this was an accident. They knew that this was a bomb that had exploded as it had dozens of times before in what many people called Birmingham. Miss McNair, we read these stories. You've had to live through all of this. Can you take a moment to just talk about, at least for a second, your parents as they and your immediate family members as they come out of this situation, what this is like for your family at that time?
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you
Yes, ma'am.
for having me up here in Milwaukee. Love Milwaukee. And want to say one other thing.
Please.
So all 4 girls were 14 that were killed, except my sister. She was 11.
Your sister was
My
11.
sister was
so
11.
they have it the other way around. They
Right.
keep saying Cynthia was 11.
No,
Your sister was 11.
Yeah,
Okay.
those other 4 girls were all in high school, starting their freshman year.
Okay.
In
I
high
wonder why that
school.
has been wrong for so
People
long.
get stuff wrong all the time. I
Okay.
just turn it up to God. I don't hold it against them.
Okay.
But she was the only child that my parents had at the time. They were the youngest of all the couples of adults that had children that were killed that day.
Okay.
And that was not on purpose. The mom and daddy wanted lots of kids, but my mother had miscarried the whole time. Every time she got pregnant, those 11 years. So you can imagine the terribleness of losing your only child. But then on top of that, not knowing if you would have any more babies because you've been trying for 11 years and it hadn't happened. But God is good and extremely faithful, because my birthday is almost a year exactly from the date she was murdered. My birthday is September 19th. She was murdered on September 15th. So a year later, I was born.
So, and that's a whole backstory that, once you hear it, you even appreciate it so much more, that this is a couple who had been trying constantly to have children, hadn't been successful to carry a pregnancy to full term. You finally have a baby. And then it's taken, this child is taken from you in this way. And so you come along and just the sky's got to open back up to some extent because they didn't know.
Right.
So did you ever have an opportunity to talk to your mother, your parents about that time and how do you come through that?
I did, but now that they're gone, I have so many more other questions I wish I had asked them.
Really?
And,
how long have your parents been deceased?
Mama died in 22, January 2nd, right after first of the year. Okay. And Daddy died in 19. Okay. May 19.
Okay.
But
May 19. Oh,
May of 2019.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
But I just Mama, I would ask Mama, how did she do it? How did they get over it? Or how did they move forward? And she said for a while she didn't move forward and she was stuck. And she talked to a friend of hers about what had happened and how did she try to cope with that. And he said, Maxine, God has a plan for everything and we don't question it. You just have to go on and trust that he will do the right thing. And although that sounds like you want to come back and say, really, huh? But that was the piece that she needed to hear to move on. And she was a school teacher, so she went back in the classroom, taught other people's kids, and was supportive of them, and raised me and my younger sister. Because after that, for 4 years after me, they kept trying, and there was even a stillbirth between me and my younger sister. My younger sister, and she had her at 40.
Really?
Yeah. And so I have a younger sister now.
So first of all, the message, keep trying.
Keep trying.
You never know. But so let me and Tyrone, I'm gonna bring you in, but so let me just ask then. So you are born and you grow up and you learn, the tragedy and the fate of your sister. And so I can't even imagine that piece of it. But you said, your mom is a teacher. And what did your dad do?
He was a professional photographer and then became the first Black state legislator in Jefferson County in Alabama.
Oh my God, that's right. Oh.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Look, I had to go.
Of a district that was not predominantly Black at the time that he won. Because he was 1973. So that was 10 years after the bombing.
Oh my, okay. That's a whole nother moment. Yeah. I work in politics. That's why I'm super excited.
Yeah.
Okay. And I track, I follow who's the first, especially coming out of Jefferson County. That's crazy. But so you're born and your parents, I read a piece about where you were attending, I guess, a predominantly Black school, but your parents moved into, or either they moved or they wanted you to attend a school that was a predominantly white school. Mm-hmm. Can you talk about that for a second?
Yeah. So, I think Daddy, after losing Denise, he always, of course, your parents always want the best for you. But now since segregation was gone and stuff opened up, he wanted to put us in this predominantly white private school. So this was the best private school in the whole state of Alabama. And what I didn't know till much later is they took me out of public school and put us in that school when I was in 2nd grade.
Okay.
But what I learned later is the school started 4-year-old kindergarten. So you have to take a test to get in,
Okay.
which is crap. And they took me down there to take the test and said I didn't pass. Well, now who done passed to get into 4-year-old kindergarten when your mama's a school teacher? And I found out later that my IQ was in the genius range. That was just racism. That's all that was. But he was consistent. So when my baby sister came along and she was 4, almost 4, we went back and retested again, and that's how we got back in that school. Got able to go to that school.
That just caught me. Yeah, I got to take a test to get in 4-year-old kindergarten.
Yeah, really.
My mother's a teacher.
Yeah,
and it really one reason why I resonated because my grandson, his mom is a school psychologist, but so education background, and this boy is brilliant.
Yeah,
and we like it's because of her. The work, that's going in. My son do a little something, but this woman knows and is teaching him and prepping him.
Yeah,
every teacher is doing that for their child.
Yeah,
So I was
those are most prepared of the kids in school.
But and I'm gonna go to break and we're gonna come back, y'all, and continue this conversation. A lot of people popping, texting me, they listening, but I'm gonna tell you, I don't know, and that's why I wanted to play on the upfront the clip where y'all talk about forgiveness. Because I'm still a work in progress.
Yes, I understand.
So totally I needed somebody else to say it for me because I don't even know if I could have sent my children into a white environment understanding what happened to my baby. And then
I thought they was crazy when they told me that's where we were gonna go. So I was like, y'all have lost child now. You trying to get me killed.
I think about Ruby Bridges, and the decision of these parents, and your baby sat in the classroom for a year by herself. And I'm like, I've already sacrificed one child for the movement.
Yes.
So look, we're gonna take a break.
Okay.
And when we come back, I cannot wait for this conversation. They got questions. They hit my phone. We're gonna get Tyrone into this thing. But y'all, when I tell you, I have had a few times that I have truly appreciated sitting in this chair because of who you get to talk to. And I'm an African American Studies major.
Awesome.
So this is one of those moments.
It's a geeking moment.
Oh my God. This surpasses the Joe Biden interview. Being able to talk to somebody connected to our history in this way. So I'm going to take a quick break. Y'all, Michelle Bryant, WNOV, 860 AM, 106.5 FM. Lord have mercy, you say something real up in here today. We'll be right back.
Jackson, the U.S. passport doesn't carry the same global weight it once did. A new report from Henley & Partners ranks the United States 12th in the world in terms of travel access. The 2025 Henley Passport Index uses data from the International Air Transport Association and compares 199 passports in 227 destinations. Americans can now visit 180 countries without a visa, and that puts the U.S. in a tie with Malaysia, just ahead of Romania, for the first time outside the global top 10. It marks a years-long decline. The U.S. passport ranked first in 2006, second in 2007, and third in 2008. It returned to the top spot in 2014. By last year, it had fallen to 7th, and now another drop. The index is one of the most widely cited measures of global travel freedom. For AUR News, I'm Jimmy Jackson.
Good morning. I'm Adrian. 40 charges filed in the 64-year-old Arizona Lawrence Force first court appearance yesterday and is charged with first-degree intentional homicide. A judge has set a $100,000 cash bond and ordered a competency exam. She could be life in prison if convicted. Just days after state lawmakers passed legislation that would let police officers tow vehicles from first-time reckless drivers, Milwaukee leaders have already introduced an ordinance to use the new authority. The city ordinance has broad support in county council, but still needs its approval before police can start towing. It has been more than 2 months since historic flooding hit southeast Wisconsin, and the impact is still being felt. Nonprofit South Milwaukee Human Concern is now turning to the community for help with their recovery efforts. These $100,000 in damages after floodwaters filled their basement. And tonight, three of the NLCS after going down 2-0. The Milwaukee Brewers are looking to get their first win against the Los Angeles Dodgers in the best of 7 seasons. First pitch from Dodger Stadium in LA is set for just after 5 p.m. There's also a watch party happening today at Davidson Park with a 16-feet TV, local food trucks, team mascots, and much more. For these stories and more, head to TMJ.com.
Here's your updated forecast. Partial sunshine develops here for today. We'll see high in the mid 60s. Winds out of the southeast around 5 to 10 miles per hour. Then for tonight, a slight chance for some rain here. Cloudy, low near 57. By Friday, partly sunny skies, high 73 degrees. And Saturday, a chance for showers and thunderstorms. Cloudy, high around 71. Sunday, chance for rain, high 58. A meteorologist from the Scan AM 860 The Voice. Craving something sweet? Step into the flavor of a good old-fashioned bake sale, Quick Trip style. Satisfy your sweet tooth with our premium donuts. And now just $2.99 for a 3-pack. Choose from Quick Trip's fluffy wontons, rich Persians, classic Bismarck, or ring donuts. So delicious, just like the ones at your hometown bake sale. Quick Trip's premium donuts. Now only $2.99 for a 3-pack. A sweet deal. Too delicious to pass up. So treat yourself today. Only at Quick Trip.
Contract ready business opportunity seekers, partnership builders, deal closers, marketplace Wisconsin, the governor's conference on diverse business development is focused on you. This event puts small businesses like yours in the room with clients, partners, and mentors who can open doors to bigger opportunities. Join us online, December 9th, and in person, December 10th and 11th at the Bear Center in Milwaukee. Whether you're a construction company looking for contract or a service provider ready to grow, Marketplace Wisconsin is for you. Meet one-on-one with government reps, corporate buyers, and resource providers. Small businesses like yours keep Wisconsin moving forward. Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation is here to propel your growth. Let's look forward together. Register now at Marketplace Wisconsin.
Inviting you to join Wisconsin Black Chambers Conference for the third Thursday networking event featuring competition at the Seafood Shack, 2336 North Barkwell Avenue. Come on Thursday, October 16th, 5 to 9 p.m. and participation is welcome. Premier networking event and there's pitch competition. If you are a business or know someone who is that can use $10,000, $7,000, or $3,000, this is the room to be. Get there at 5 p.m. to register. The monthly winner is determined by the audience, so bring your family and friends. The winner qualifies to compete in the finale in December. There is no cost to attend this event. Thursday, October 16th, 5 to 9 p.m. The third Thursday networking event featuring the pitch competition at the Seafood Shack, 2336 North Farwell Avenue. And check out our new website, tmpcc.com, to keep up with what we have going on. Are you ready to live your best life? Join AARP's Luminous Life, a celebration of wellness, empowerment, and community for African American women ages 45 to 65. Discover expert tips on health and welfare, all in one uplifting experience. Visit aarp.org/Milwaukee to register for the October 25th event in Milwaukee and shine from the inside out. Luminous Life, because everyone deserves.
Hi, this is Steve Harris, the host of Community Voice. Asking you to join us Mondays through Fridays from 9 to 11. You will hear from interesting guests, what these were the topics and subjects that impact our community.
And don't forget about me, Devon Jones, DJ program every Friday, bringing you Free Flow Friday, Outfits Nation, Sports, English Nation, local events, national. And remember, while I'm here, there'll be no passes.
That's Community Voice for Community 6.5. 860 AM, 106.5 FM, WNOV, the voice.
All right, family, welcome back to the show. So I am extremely fortunate and blessed today to have joining me in the studio Miss Lisa McNair, who is helping us walk through one of the most storied moments in, when you talk about the civil rights and all the things that lead up to finally dismantling segregation, finally, getting us to the 1964 Voting Rights Act, 1965 64 Civil Rights, 65 Voting Rights Act. There are all these moments that are pivotal in relationship to our history. The bombing of the 16th Street Baptist Church, in which 4 little girls died in the basement of the church, is one of those that will forever be a part of that history. And talking to Lisa McNair, who ended up penning a book of letters to your sister. Take a second, Lisa, and talk about why the letters.
Well, this book is a book I wanted to write ever since I was 14. I'm 61 now. So when my parents put us in predominantly white private schools when I was in the 2nd grade, by the time I graduated in the 8th grade, I knew that my life was very different. I had often been called white girl. I wasn't black enough. I basically spent all this time assimilating to the white culture, and I'd lost that piece of me that was black. And it's hard to believe, you one of the most prominent civil rights families, but I didn't know how to connect back to it because I had embraced that other side. So I lived in a black neighborhood. I went to a black church, but still, you at school 95% of your time,
Right.
and I didn't know how to get back. And that persisted and went on for years. And I knew at 14 of that 8th grade, yeah, I got to write about this because nobody else is going through this. And I don't know how I have anybody to talk to about it. It was a very sad and lonely time as life progressed because nobody had experienced that. I was a trailblazer in a way. And so that's the premise of how the book got started. But I knew I would need to include Denise in it. So it talks about Denise in the beginning, and I'd write it in letters to her, telling her my life story. So it's a memoir essentially.
Because I was almost wondering, like, and this, I don't. It sounds kind of weird to even ask it, but like, do I find myself living in my sister's shadow? Like, I'm always going to be Denise McNair's sister.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, and people gonna lead with that.
Yeah.
This is Lisa. That is so
Yeah.
sister.
Yeah.
And it's like I can't even imagine being a child trying to find myself and figure out my own place in the world. Then I'm going to this predominantly white school or all white school, and but I got all this other stuff going on around me. How do you navigate that piece of it? How do you find
who Lisa is?
Right.
Right. Well, mom and dad were really good about just letting us be us. They didn't say, well, you need to do this because Denise did that. It was almost like they didn't really talk about her very much at all. And I think part of that was the pain of it all. It was just so painful to talk. And it wasn't just them, the whole community, the church, the neighborhood, unless you ask somebody about Denise.
Because did they stay at the church?
My mom, after the remodeling, 8 months later, she went back to the church. That was her church.
Lord.
Her mama was there. Her grandma was there. My aunties and cousins were there. So that was her church. I was baptized at that church. So people ask me all the time, how is it going back? Can you do it? And I was like, I grew up in that church. So it's like my church. I remember seeing myself and have memories of friends and family and playing. But yeah, they went back but they allowed us to develop our own personalities, our own lives. But as I've gotten older, that's still, I would never get away from being Denise McNair's sister. That's my legacy. And now my ministry to share that what happened to the 4 girls, but also how we need to navigate life in this world of hate and racism and on the aftermath of all that. That's kind of what I do and I talk about now.
So I'm gonna bring Tyrone into the conversation because, like I said, I've known Tyrone for a while, And he reminds me sometimes of one of the most militant,
Yep. That's cuz.
kick the door in. I tried to talk to him. Now I'm about to start snatching folks. And I mean, I'm not saying that's him, but that's what it feels like sometimes.
Yeah.
And so just so people understand the relationship, I was trying to figure it out during the commercial break. Your grandmothers were sisters.
No,
How does
his mother and my father are first cousins.
Mhm.
Right. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
And then my grandmother was her grandfather's
Sibling.
Oh, so that I knew there was a
Yes.
sibling thing. Okay. Okay. So Tyrone, like I said, because we've had these conversations off and on for years. So when do you appreciate the significance, or did you always understand the significance of who the McNair side of the family is?
I think I appreciated it more. Remember back in those days, when they had the bombing, the family found out, as you remember, families then had a call chain.
They had a call chain.
Right. And
Right.
so all the McNairs called each other. My mother got a call in Milwaukee, then she called, and it moved around because there was a number of siblings from the family in Milwaukee.
Okay.
And so I was 12, and I remember sitting wondering, what did this mean? Because I had never met my cousin. You know, we hadn't started having family reunions yet. That didn't happen until the early 70s. And so I had to make some commitments. And one of the things I committed to, that as soon as I was 18, I was going to vote, because I knew that part of the thing
As
in
soon as you were
Birmingham,
18, you were going to do what?
I was going to learn.
Vote.
I was going to
Okay.
go vote, because I know in Birmingham, that was one of the problems. The KKK that wanted to stop people from the demonstration, remember, for the voting rights.
Right.
And part of that with Selma and Birmingham and all like that was that they were fiercely, they tried to burn down a church when the service was going on in, was it Montgomery?
Montgomery, right.
Going to light the church on fire full of congregants.
Right.
Because they wanted to send a message that
scare people
and keeping you from voting. And I always thought that was significant. And then I got to know most of my family when we started having family reunions. My mother, my grandmother, and all them, and some of our dean was Uncle Mitchell. They started having family reunions in '74, and then we started learning about each other.
So, right before Tyrone spoke, you talked about this whole piece about how you navigate.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of us struggling right now, Lisa.
I know.
And to have gone through this cycle, born into. I tell people all the time, I'm 1 year older than the right of Black women in particular to be able to go and vote unfettered. No poll tax, no literacy tests, nobody hemming me up, recite the preamble to the Constitution. I'm only 1 year older than that. But I don't remember a lot of stuff. I just know through my family,
Right, exactly.
But I do remember, the first time I heard a white man call my little brother nigger and told my mother to shut that nigger baby up on the train. And that, though, was in New York. We were riding to Jersey to go see my aunt. So I have these moments. I certainly remember, but to have you, because you've been immersed in this, this is the work. I was just talking during the break, you talked about PBS coming and doing a special with you. You were just out at New York University, NYU, with Spike Lee doing a lecture for his class. So you have like all these pivotal, things. To be in this moment where we are right now, when yesterday they're voting about aspect of the Voting Rights Act and whether or not we're going to continue to use race as a way of protecting Black voting rights.
I know what you're trying to say.
How do you navigate? How do you, what is it that we need to understand as Black folks to help us get through this moment? Because none of us have had to go through the bombing exercise in the way your parents did. These are things we've read about. I've got people that in earnest have yet to feel the actual brunt of racism outside of microaggressions. And you walk away and go, I think that just happened to me. I'm sure that happened, but it didn't cost me my life.
Right.
So,
that piece right there.
Yeah. You know, and so how it seems like your faith has informed you to a degree about how you're responding. But what do you say for folks that are struggling right now?
Oh, I get it. I totally get it. November 7th was the election year. It was
Yes.
the 6th last year. I was like, I woke up the next day and I was like, I was gonna have it come apart and come unglued. But I couldn't come unglued them first 2 days because I had white friends who called me crying, prostrate on the floor. But now, like, what we gonna do? What we gonna do? What we gonna do? I was like, I can't have my meltdown because I got to lift him up. But that by Thursday, I was on the floor myself. And I was like, Jesus, because what I've seen is rising openings up of the world. Because like you say, you're born in 64, I was born in 64. So what I've seen is a lot of first. The first black people to do this. First, this store opened up, that place opened up. I can go here and I can be the first to do this. But the bad part of it kind of had subsided. We all knew it wasn't dead.
Right.
But it's come back now. And it's more frightening now for me than it was back then because I know what it looked like because I know my history. So it's that piece that you have to say, you got to teach people, keep teaching people, keep showing people your history. You got to keep doing that and teaching history. And we got to go back and get our children. I have friends and cousins who don't even take their children to church. So they don't know going to a black church and having the civil rights stuff on the wall in Baby Haitian Bible school like we did.
And we don't even have it in our homes like we used to.
We don't even have it in our homes.
We joke all the time. Every black home had
a
three
picture of Martin Luther King, Bobby Kennedy, and Robert Kennedy in their living room.
And if it wasn't that, it was
and a white picture
it was
of Jesus.
JFK, and King.
Yeah.
You can get Bobby or JFK.
JFK, either one.
And then later, them same black old households, they took down JFK and they put up Obama.
Right.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Malcolm didn't make it to all the living rooms.
Not Paul Malcolm didn't make it to all the living rooms.
But he did to many of the spirit. Yesterday we went to visit her father's pastor at the time of the bombing, Reverend Joseph Ellwanger. And so her father was a member of his church, and Maxine, and then was a member
of Ellwanger's here in Milwaukee.
Right.
Yeah.
That was her father's
That's why I came up here to see Tyrone and Pastor Ellwanger.
And so we went to see him, and we talked about some of this current.
That's crazy.
And that's from a white perspective.
Yes.
We talked about it from their perspective. And now, we both, but he was right in the middle of it. He was the only pastor that I think spoke at the funeral, white pastor. And then when you go to the museum in Birmingham, he's in there. His picture is in there in the Civil Rights Museum. And so he has such a knowledge of what it's felt like from a white perspective at the same time.
And he, but like, how do we deal with it? How do you navigate it? So I was a mess Thursday, and I was a mess for about another 2 days. And I was walking in my room, just crying, trying to figure out, oh God, what country am I move to? Jesus, I don't have no money, so I don't know how I'm gonna move to. There's a dude that went to high school with me. He lives in Canada, and he got a house in the Grand Cayman, and he's single. I said, well, I could marry him. I'd be responsible for doing things I don't want to do, but I'd be out of this country. So I'm just having this whole 100% meltdown. And like several times in my life, God has spoken to me, and people say that you can be like, but he really does. And he spoke to me that day. He said, I didn't bring you this far to leave you. And ever since I heard that, I got up off the floor, stopped crying. And every time I get down a little bit, he said, don't you remember what I told you? I didn't bring you this far to leave you. He did not bring us this far to leave you. We have so much resources and so much access now that we didn't even have in 63. And we can't forget that. We have to lean in and educate and protest and fight and sue and grab some of our white people that really don't understand. Because you got the white people who hate us, and that's straight up. Then you got the white people, they really don't know. And now I go to a predominantly white church. It's so many white people that in their 70s that they don't really know the history, but they're open to listening to me tell it because they love me. But think about it. You 73 and you don't know, you weren't taught. Then you got a 30 or 40-year-old child who wasn't taught, who's now having children and teenagers who not taught. That's 3 generations of the white people who didn't know what we know. And some of them can be our allies, but we got to educate them, and then we got to educate our children and our fellow blacks to be strong, to lean in, to find you a whole bunch of scriptures, and like my Bible to highlight it and lean on it. When we have a crazy day, when Trump does something, sing that song, what the man, no weapon formed against me shall prosper. Repeat that verse, and just, you have to lean into your Christianity, because that's really the only thing that's going to get us through this at this time.
You know what song I taught children when I was doing some teaching? I always taught them "This Little Light of Mine." That was that was one way I could lift the spirits of the children. Let's sing "This Little Light of Mine," and they would just gravitate. Because many of them never heard that. They didn't know that was an anthem.
And I want to be clear, that's my jam. So I sing it to me.
Amen.
So look,
Amen.
I am nearing the end of my show this morning. I end early on Thursdays, but I want to do two things before I go. One of which is tell people how they can find the book.
Okay.
Remind them of the title and where they can find the book.
Okay. The book is Dear Denise, Letters to the Sister I Never Knew. And like everything we buy, it's on Amazon. But it should be at any bookstore, local bookstore that you have. It's written by Lisa McNair. So just Dear Denise.
And then just real quick, hardest letter in this book to write.
Letter 16.
Letter 16.
Letter 16 talks about how that period where I didn't feel like I was black enough, and I didn't feel accepted, and I didn't know how I was going to navigate through the rest of my life being black, but black people didn't like me and the white people wouldn't accept me. And so there were years of being suicidal in there, and I wanted to kill myself. So 16 is the culmination of that whole experience and how I moved past that, and I hit the pinnacle, and I decided not to do that.
And
so that was the hardest one to write.
Let me just add that the family name is McNair, Brazils, and Scott. That's our three name on that side. On my dad's side is Price, Driver, Stokes. So I got all these people. I learned that were my family, and I was in my 30s. My mother is part of that generation. Don't tell you nothing. I asked a question, you ain't getting no answer to that, boy.
Right.
So I learned about a lot of my family in this town as a late teenager or in my early 30s. There were people, my cousins, we played, but we never knew we was connected.
I think, I had Claiborne Benson in here yesterday talking about that this is National Archives Month.
Oh, really?
Yes. So as you talked about going through all of your father's photographs and all of the things that your family has, we know that there is somebody in the family that is a keeper of that history. But
that would be me.
To Tyrone's point, the other folks that's not telling it, we got to go around them and figure out these stories because we have no idea how we are connected and interconnected.
True.
Miss McNair, it has been an honor and a privilege to have you in the studio. I definitely will be talking to you again.
Thank you.
And I don't know, have you done any interviews over in Chicago yet?
No, I haven't been in Chicago yet.
I'm gonna call my sorority sister over at VON.
Okay.
And I'm gonna make sure that she knows about you. I know her team will call you ASAP.
Great. Well, I'm gonna give you my card with my contact
because this is stuff that everybody needs to know and have access to. Look, family.
And thank you, Michelle.
No, Tyrone, thank you for making this a possibility for us. There are so many things that we have to do. Tyrone and I talked about during the break, educating ourselves. We used to have, freedom schools. We took our own education in our own hands. These stories have to be told because these are the things when people ask me like how you do it, how you fight, because I know what I know where I come from. I know what the fighters look like before me.
And the work that they did.
Inform my fight.
Right.
So I tell people, you it's hard to have that energy and that drive if you don't understand. Hey, you are in a long line of soldiers.
True.
This ain't new.
This ain't new.
This is not new.
No.
So I definitely want to say that I appreciate you so much. And I appreciate you.
Well, thank you for having me. This was a gift.
Thank you. All right, family. So for folks that know, today is the day for the funeral of 15-year-old Azaria Jones. And for everybody, again, that has been baking and cooking and dropping off, thank you so much. I will be getting the repast set up at 2:00. And, you think about loss of life No matter how it happens, it's just senseless. We got to do better. Ty, appreciate you, bro. It's good to
I
see you.
appreciate it.
All right, y'all. Bros in the studio. Debo, ride out.
I appreciate
you.
WNOV. Message to the people.
Look. All right, family. I will holler at y'all next week. And y'all stay safe over the weekend. Peace.